Welcome to the living room, where we are not in our living room. Where are we, Scott?
We're at the Keller Williams office.
We're with our friend and fellow real estate agent, Rich Price. Welcome to Not Our Living Room, Rich.
This is the best not living room I've been in today.
Okay, so a topic that you may have heard about, AI. I don't know if you haven't heard about it. I don't know where you've been. But this is a hot topic for real estate agents and other people too, right, Scott?
All types of people.
All types of people. And so our friend Rich uses AI in ways that we wish we used AI. We use it some. I like it to write things for me, make my life easier that way. Scott, how do you use AI?
I use it to help me clarify conversations that I need to have, maybe the best way to present them. So also sort of writing as well. I'm very interested in talking to Rich because I think he has adopted AI at a much greater and higher level than most people have. And so that's why we invited him to join us today and to share his knowledge of AI. So I guess first, welcome.
Yeah, thanks. I'm glad to be on video with you guys.
And the first question we would ask is, like, I guess, what's been your AI journey, like where you started and kind of where you use it now personally and in business?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was interested in it when it came around, but I didn't hit the early adoption phase. I was a little bit reluctant to use it because, worst case, it's Skynet. And best case, I write a little bit better of an email. Like, I didn't see initially how it was going to be a really significant piece of leverage in my life. And early last year is when I really started paying attention to how it was evolving and the use cases that I was seeing around not just our industry, but a lot of other industries and for day-to-day life. And then looking forward to the projections of what people were thinking about what AI will look like in 2, 5, 10 years from now, which it's even hard at the rate it's growing and integrating into our lives, what it'll even look like 5 years from now, much less 10. But I got really intentional last year about seeing how it could be a tool that I use in my tool belt. And so I've shifted, my mental framing around it is really that it is a companion piece of leverage. And by leverage, I mean the input going in has outsized impact with the output. It's not a one-for-one exchange, whether it's time for time for money, time for result. I get a bigger impact by using it as a piece of leverage. And I also think about it in two ways. Like a lot of people, I think that their experience with AI so far has been, it'll just make my life easier. And so they see it's like, and so I think about it.
He's talking about people like me.
Well, I think a lot of people, it's because they don't have a good frame around what things could look like. So, it's like the old poem, like two roads diverged in a wood. Like there's one path that's like the cognitive offloading. I just make my life easier with this path. It's kind of like what I call like the lazy path. Then there's a growth path, which is framing it around I'm trying to sharpen my skill set by interacting with whatever platform it is. For most people, I think it's probably ChatGPT is their initial encounter and primary tool that most people are going to be familiar with. So you have a growth path where you have to be intentional with the way you're building your prompts and the desired results, the goals that you have for what you're trying to get out of it. And so if you want gold results, you've got to feed it gold-plated inputs. And so that's the way I'm trying to think about it. It's like there's two roads. I can make my life easier by just being lazy, or I can make my life better by sharpening my skills and the outputs.
I think for most people, their initial, and maybe this is where a lot of people have stopped in their adoption of AI, is it's just replaced Google. It's how I use a search for things. And I guess also specifically in our industry, people stop with, well, it writes my listing descriptions for me. What are simple ways that people can, I guess, upgrade their experience? And you talked specifically about the importance of prompts. For people who may not even understand what that really means, can you just give a brief synopsis of what a prompt needs to have and what even a prompt is?
Yeah, so at the basic level, a prompt is the text or voice or visual input that you put into any AI system that you're requesting that tool to give you back some sort of answer, feedback, response. So it can be as simple as, hey, I need to improve this text message to a friend, a client. It's a sensitive conversation. Help me rewrite it. That is a prompt. Or there's ways to structure prompts that are a little bit more thoughtful, take a little bit more time on our part to put in, but will give us dramatically better results. And so a few things to think about when creating prompts is, one, what is the context that you can give AI for the situation? The other is, what is the desired outcome that you have for this conversation? Because create this email for me is very different than create an email for me that helps move this person into a place of agreement with me, or that helps illuminate my position on this particular issue. That's going to help a lot.
To that point, I realized I needed to say, in like helping with our newsletter that we send to our database, I was just saying, like, rewrite this to make it sound better. And I would put in something. But then I started saying, write this newsletter to our real estate database. And so adding real estate, it even like moved that needle closer to where I was trying to get in the end, as opposed to it writing it once and then saying, but make it sound like this and make it sound like this. So even saving time with the prompt, I think was helpful for me.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's another great part of prompt engineering or prompt development, is telling it the audience that if you need help writing something, this is the audience it's going to. I'm writing primarily to a group of 20 to 25-year-olds. They think about the world in this way. We're trying to address this issue. You're going to get a better output than, hey, make this for a general audience. It's very similar to like an author. An author typically has a specific type of person they're writing for. You should be giving AI or whatever prompt tool you're using that same context. It's very helpful.
So you mentioned, obviously everybody knows ChatGPT. What other tools are you using that we may or may not have heard of, and what specific use cases or what are you using them for?
Yeah, well, let me dive into a little bit inside ChatGPT, because there's tools inside ChatGPT that most people are completely unaware of. Most people, I think, when you start in ChatGPT, even if you're using it every day for something, they're going in and they're going just new chat. That's the whole process. Yeah, is that you? And you have a sidebar with a bunch of different chats. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So a couple of things. One is projects. On the left-hand side, it's new. Everybody sees new project, and everybody's like, I don't know what that is. It's just a file system. Well, no. Like, a project is it's a place where you can upload specific instructions and files. If you want to create a financial forecast model for your business, you can upload these files. Say, create a PDF that says, these are the things that I want to accomplish with a financial forecast. This is what it needs to look like. These are the rules. You tell it, basically, don't lie to me, don't hallucinate. You can tell it that, and it helps pull down the frequency rate of hallucinations. And then everything that you do around that specific type of project can live in there, and the chats are self-referencing. So it basically lives in its own little project world. So there's that, but there's also custom GPTs. You essentially build them the same way, but it's not keeping a catalog of, like, this is all one project I'm working on. It's like, if you're going to have, an easy example in our industry would be listing descriptions. Hey, I'm going to upload the rules to it. I want my listing descriptions to sound like this. Don't use M dashes. Don't use cliche language. If you use the word cozy, I'm going to ship you to a server in, Timbuktu. You threaten that AI, it's fine. They can roll with it. But and that is going to be a place where you can go back to that custom GPT and use it for the same type of work every time, rather than around the same project. And so it's a repeating job. So I think those are two really slept on tools inside ChatGPT. Also on the OpenAI platform, they've got a a thing that helps you refine your prompts. And so you can go in and tell it, hey, this is what I would like to do. Help me write the best prompt for this. And it will spit out the kind of prompt that you need. So that's not directly in your menu on ChatGPT. You have to go to the OpenAI platform site and sign in with your account and do it there. Really, really helpful. Some other tools that I'm using. There's if you want to develop any app or a website that does a certain thing, there's these no code platforms where you basically just go in and type what you want, what you're looking for, and it will take that and it writes all the code for you and spits out the app or the website or whatever. The one that I'm currently using for a project I'm working on is called Lovable.dev, I think. Just type Lovable in your Google search bar and it will show up.
I show up when you do that.
Yeah. Big picture of Scott. Lovable. .swole. Yeah. I'm also using Gemini some. I'm not as familiar with Gemini yet at this point, but it's got a lot going for it. That Nano Banana image generator is unbelievable.
Tell the good people what Gemini is, in case they don't know.
Yeah, so Gemini is Google's AI platform. So it looks very similar to ChatGPT when you get on there. It's got a different database that it's pulling from. It's trained on all of Google's data. If you're using it within a company workspace, like we have at Keller Williams, we have access to it, and so it can go into our Google Drive, Gmail, Calendar, all that, and you can just type at Drive or at Docs, at Sheets, and it will reference whatever you're looking for. It's really cool.
So an important thing, I guess, when you're dealing with ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever, is having the AI really learn who you are. Mm-hmm. And you wrote for us recently a prompt mm-hmm. for teaching a new AI that you're interacting with how to learn who you are.
Yeah.
And I did that. It saved me a ton of time. So one, thank you for that. Because I've been primarily in ChatGPT, and I was like, well, this is provided to us, Gemini mm-hmm. is, and so let me start working in it. And just took that prompt over and then said, ask me all these questions and then, build this profile for me and whatever. And so it really sped up the on-ramp for learning, dealing with a new AI. So if you've been dealing with one and want to have success in another and are scared of starting and reinventing the wheel, you can ask ChatGPT for a prompt or whoever you're using to build out the new one, and they don't get territorial like that.
Yeah, no, it's great being able to cross-platform that information in a way that makes sense, because these AI systems, they understand each other better than we understand how to migrate between the two. And so, if you're typically using one but you need to develop a relationship, I said relationship, I mean that, because it really is like a collaborative relationship that you're working with, even though that freaks some people out. It's not a girlfriend.
Yet.
Usually.
or wife.
Yeah. Sidebar, when I started really getting into AI, my wife, Erin, was like, this is kind of weird, and it can't be your girlfriend. I'm like, I'm not that lonely. I guess there are some people.
Making sure.
Yeah. But anyway, being able to say, hey, ChatGPT, based on what you know about me, write me information that I can dump into Google Gemini. And I said, I told it I need this for Gemini, but then it gave me basically a really broad understanding document of what it knows about me, what my goals are, my tone, what's important to me, the priorities that I have in executing projects. It was just a really, really helpful prompt and tool that it gave me, that it got Gemini up to speed very quickly. And when I dropped it in Gemini, I don't know if this was your experience too, it was like Gemini was like, this is really helpful. Yeah. It got me up to speed. What can I best help you with now?
Gemini was very complimentary of that process.
Yeah.
The other day you said, I'm going to paraphrase, that if you're a real estate agent and not using AI, you are in trouble.
Yeah.
So what would you say to, we're going to talk specifically about real estate agents since that's what we all are. Mm-hmm. What would you say to a real estate agent who's not using AI at all? What would, one tangible thing that they could do to get into the game?
I would say first and foremost, the one tangible thing that they need to do is find one platform and learn it. Like above everything, like it's so easy to get overwhelmed because there are so many tools out there that it's like I don't even know where to start. Analysis paralysis, and I think it's probably some bias because I'm very integrated into ChatGPT. It makes a lot of sense for most people, I think, to start there, or Google Gemini. Those are probably the easiest starting places. They're going to have the most impact because, one, they're the most well-funded. Number two, they're the most aggressively advancing platforms. The best updates in technology are going to be on those two platforms. So to stay current, I would say start there. And, it's like, it's not hard to get on YouTube and say how to learn ChatGPT. There's a billion videos that are going to come up. And if you want to go a little more in depth, there's paid courses online that you can take that, a lot of them are probably worth it. You can actually use ChatGPT to say, hey, help me find the best course for $100 that I can take to learn how to use this.
Yeah, I would say between the three of us, I am low man on the totem pole when it comes to technology and also adoption of things. I'm a slow adopter. But honestly, ChatGPT is very easy to use. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know I use it at a beginner to intermediate level, but I would say don't be afraid. It seems like when you hear people talk, if you're sitting talking to Scott and Rich, it can seem like that's something I could never do, but you really can. And so I echo that. You just figure it out, open the browser, type Chat GPT in, and start. Yeah. And you just gotta start. Don't sit there trying to think of all the ways I'm gonna suddenly make my business into the biggest thing ever.
Yes.
Scott would like to say something.
What I would also say is that I think people have maybe an irrational fear of AI. Mm-hmm. It's not going to act on your behalf. Like it's never going to put something out into the world that you did not intend to go out there. Like 100%. You have to manually do that. And so what it does is it's a massive time saver. And like you think, I have this idea, that's this thing I want to write or do. And I just have sort of this nebulous framework and I need to put some meat on the bones. Put that nebulous framework in there, and then you immediately get feedback from the system that says, here's what you need to do. And then you go and you edit that or you refine those prompts and you build it out in collaboration with the AI until you get exactly what you want. And then you personally are putting that out into the world. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I can just address that maybe from let me take it from an existential level down to a practical level. So one of the ways that I've begun thinking actually about time, because that was very similar to my approach. It's like, I'll save time. And then as I started integrating AI into my life a little more, I was like, saving time we can't do that anyway. Like saving time is a myth. We don't have the ability to save time. Like that clock is ticking all day, every day, no matter what. But what it does for us is we can shorten the time on a task, and then we have two choices. One is we can screw around and we can, scroll Instagram more, or, we can waste the opportunity in front of us, or how I'd like to think about it. Instead of saving time, I'm repurposing time. And so it gives us a chance to repurpose that time. Again, this is like the two roads in the woods. I can be more lazy or I can move toward growth. When I repurpose my time, I'm being intentional about the way I'm using it to then sharpen my skills, be more high leverage, make more of an impact on the things that I'm actually good at. So that's the way I'm thinking about it, from an existential level all the way down to like, how does this show up in my day-to-day life? A lot of that actually, I read the book 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Berkman. Phenomenal book. Would 12 out of 10 recommend. But yeah, just thinking about our relationship with time, we don't get to recreate it. Mm-hmm. And so like we can either waste it or repurpose it. And the idea of saving time, I think is something we tell ourselves, that like it has this implicit understanding in it that we get it back, and we just don't. Yeah.
Okay. So question for both of y'all. In the world of AI, artificial intelligence.
Thank you for spelling that out.
In case somebody doesn't know, It's for the people. Okay. So we're in a world and we're in a business of relationships and people. What do we say? People buy houses from people they know and trust, right? And so we're using AI, this artificial world out there. Mm-hmm. How do we make sure that what we're using is helping us build those relationships? Because we all know and we've all read something that has been written by AI and everybody knows, oh, she or he didn't write that, somebody else wrote that. Mm-hmm. And I just think we have to continue to make sure we're still working on the people side of things, right? Mm-hmm. That's important to me. So how would y'all address that in your own business?
Go ahead, Scott.
Well, I'd say, one, you have to look at it as not a replacement for anything, but it's a tool that you use in your business to help you better interact with the relationships that are important to you. And so we talk about, maybe it's a misnomer, like you said, saving time, but repurposing time spent doing whatever you're doing so that you can get that time back in order to interact with the people that you want to interact with in your business. And so if it's these mundane tasks that would tend to sort of eat up our time, maybe we're using AI for that so that we still have even more time available to go and to interact with the people that we are trying to help and serve.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I 100% agree. I think it has so much to do with the outcomes that we are optimizing for. When we are developing our prompts, when we're developing our systems, when we're developing what our working relationship with AI will be, if the stated outcome is I'm looking to build models, tools, and systems with this particular tool, which is kind of a cool thing. Like it's like almost like a self-replicating tool. It's like the base level tool and everything else is built on it. But if the desired outcome is because I want to get into high intent conversations, if I want to optimize for relationship time, that will fundamentally dictate the way in which we're building the way we're using these systems. And, you could build it in such a way that absolutely takes you off course from the relationship part of this business, which is, like you said, people who know, like, and trust you are going to be the ones who do business with you. If you're not optimizing for that, it will take you off course. And so, again, it's a very benign, non-biased system. Like, it's going to respond to the inputs you put in. So having a very clear vision and a very clear picture of what the outcome you're optimizing for at the beginning will help you develop things in such a way that you are much more likely to get to where you want to be.
I think this is a good start for people who, like Amanda, are ready to maybe ramp up their AI usage and skill level. And we would also say, if that's something that you want to do and wish to start, I'm by no means an AI expert, and Rich is probably far more advanced, but we're happy to show you the tools that we've personally used to get where we are in our usage of it as well. Well, thanks, Rich. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Bye.
Oh, bye.
Adios.